Hello, everyone. I am here with Lydia, who is one of our guest experts in My Child Has Exams Now What, which is a book that is launching in a week and 3 days, I think. So the 2nd of February, so not long now. So if you haven't heard about the book launching, My Child Has Exams Now What, it is a book that takes a whole child approach. It is about parents who want, it's a book for parents who want to nurture their child to fulfill their potential without exams having a detrimental effect on their mental health. So fortunately, I have a number of amazing guest experts just giving their little bits of wisdom in the book as well. And Lydia is who we're going to be talking to today. So Lydia, tell me a little bit about yourself, please.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you again, Nicole, so much for reaching out and for us reconnecting. I just think it's so much fun because my background in teaching, my background in education really started unexpectedly when I was starting my first career. And as much as I was going into engineering, I loved working on aircraft, I had this sense that eventually sometime in my life, I was going to move into education. I just didn't know when. So when the opportunity came for me to switch from being an engineer to focusing on children, primarily working with high schoolers, I just fell in love with it. There's just so much readiness for the next step that's happening. And so being a part of that and helping them to have the tools that they needed, especially from a math standpoint, was super, super huge. Eventually, I did find, just being honest, that being in a system, especially here in the US, that's very test driven, that's very performance driven, that it can be very detrimental to many children. And it creates this false sense of, my worth is basically based on my ACT or SAT score. That's a big thing that's here. I myself was an international baccalaureate scholar and went through that program and that process. I'm grateful for it. But I also realized that for many, it's not necessarily the best fit for them, and that's okay. So I eventually left from the teaching space and went into working with homeschoolers, working independently, tutoring and doing private teaching, because I found that when I had the ability to focus on a child and to really celebrate their strengths, when they're learning and their interests, all those things, that's when they really were able to do their very best. And I went, this is what I love. So yeah, so that's a little bit about how I got to where I am now.
Yeah, excellent. That's amazing and so true. A lot of that resonates over here as well. And so, it's really good to have you on board with that, that as well. So in your daily life, you shared a bit about it. So how do you right now help others in your daily life?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So nowadays, super fun. I get to do primarily math tutoring. I do some test prep tutoring as well, focusing in particular on the maths. The part that I feel that is unique in terms of my approach is that actually, much like how you do it, it's a whole child approach, right? So I don't typically start off, for example, when I meet a new student with doing the, okay, let's just dive in, let's just cover these things. I go, who are you? What are the things that light you up? What is it that you see yourself doing in the future? How have you experienced math in the past? It's an area that tends to be the most traumatizing of subjects for people. And so something as small, or what may seem insignificant as, that moment in 3rd grade when they were learning fractions, that now haunts them as they're going into these tests where fractions are everywhere, and it causes them to shut down and going, these are the things that I need to be aware of so we can address those root causes. We can really take out the time to help you to see how they process best for you. So that's primarily what I do. So it's things like geometry, calculus, which is my absolute favorite. I love calculus, algebra, all the things. And then especially with the test preparation, my approach for test preparation, we got little people.
That's okay. It's life.
It's good.
Life. It's fine.
So my preparation for testing is not just, okay, let's teach to the test. because the whole purpose of a test is to see what you know. So if you don't know it, let's make sure you learn it and we fill in those gaps so that your house foundation, if you will, is nice and strong, and then you can build on that. So yeah.
Love that. That's so, your whole method and your whole ethos there, is really, really great. And so why did you want to be a guest expert in My Child Has Exams Now What?
Yes, because something that we've talked about especially is this idea that, there's such high anxiety that is present within this testing process. And it may have been there when I was in school. That's very possible. But I don't remember seeing it to the level that we see it now, where it's creating a serious detriment on our children's mental health. And of course, we live in a very unique age, right? Where we just went through basically 2 years of the world being, shut down and closed off. And so learning styles weren't we weren't able to address certain learning styles, right? Because everything was moving to virtual, or being able to feel social. So for your social learners, they didn't have that. So that was a time of just great detriment. And here in the States in particular, they're seeing a drop in test scores. They were seeing it before the shutdown happened, and then they saw it, of course, very dramatically afterwards because of all of that missed content. So knowing that this is a way to help parents who may not necessarily, they realize that these things are going on, but not necessarily understand just how much that can weigh on a child. Because I know we call them teenagers, but they're still children, right? Yeah. I mean, they're just large children. Yeah. And so realizing that, these things are weighing on a child, and the way that you would expect even a 7 or 8-year-old to be able to show up and do a test, we would feel really, really horrible telling a 7 or 8-year-old that, all these things about, you have to make sure you do your very best in all these areas, right? And to give them all this pressure, yet we think it's okay for them to be 14, 15, 16 and doing the same thing. And so it's going, okay, I understand that there's concerns about schools, there's concerns about careers, you want them to do their best in life, but ultimately where they do their best in life is knowing that they're loved and they're seen and they're appreciated. And so that was the message that I wanted to make sure came across. And I love that you put this together as a book, Nicole, because there are so many parents who are just, okay, what tests do I need to do? What programs do I need to put them in? And just, okay, I hear you, but make sure that you realize that your child is still a child. So that I was just, let's get on board and totally support that.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm very pleased you got on board. And we got to spread that message, haven't we? That whole child matters. And to try and disseminate that pressure so it disperses a bit as well. So so Lydia, how can people kind of connect with you? You're going to put the links in the comments of this, but tell us how we can connect with you.
Yeah, most definitely. So the best way to connect with me is on social media. So I'm on Facebook quite often, and Instagram. I'll share some different things in my stories, which is always super fun. I decided to start doing a little bit of work with Abacus, so that is super neat. If you've ever seen a story about Abacus before, it's amazing. So primarily Facebook and Instagram, and then lydiaeppic.com is an excellent place to be able to just connect and get resources and all the things. So I have some special resources there also for the parents who check out your amazing book.
Oh, excellent. So definitely go. She'll put it in the comments, and then go to her website, check those out as well. So thank you so much, Lydia. Lovely to chat with you.
Always. It's so much fun to chat with you, Nicole.
Definitely. And we'll I'll be popping back on, I think, tomorrow with another interview for another guest expert. And thanks for watching. See you later.
See you. Bye.
Bye.